Hi everyone, welcome back. So today I'm here with a new friend. You can probably hear him. This is Birdy. So I'll tell you a bit about where Birdy came from a bit later. Ooh, he's very hungry, as you can see. So I'm excited to tell you about something new I've been working on. So if you follow me on Instagram, so my Instagram is Crafty Yams, you would have noticed I've been posting about Iran and the protests in Iran. So if you don't know about them in a nutshell, so I'm Iranian, and Iran was taken over by a dictator in 1979. Before that, it wasn't exactly democratic. There was a Shah, so there was a king, but things were better. But the people overthrew that king, hoping for a more democratic environment, but instead instituted what is called the Islamic regime, which has ruled Iran since with a very authoritarian rule. They have the highest per capita rate of executions anywhere in the world, and they execute artists, poets, political activists, children. Yeah, so it's pretty awful. Anyway, that's Iran in a nutshell. So recently, the youth in Iran, and also people of all ages, have been out in the street demanding the regime step down, and they want a more free, democratic society. And in response, the government has been killing protesters, sentencing them to death. And these are young children, they're teenage girls, so it's quite awful. Anyway, so being in Australia, there's not very much I can do about it here, other than going back, but it's not really an option for me. So I've been designing these cross-stitch patterns sort of to express my feelings towards what's going on there and in solidarity with the protesters. So I'll talk a bit about those patterns. Now I realize this is not everyone's cup of tea, and if you drew the Venn diagram of people who are really into cross-stitch and then people interested in the geopolitics of Iran, you probably have like 5 people. So this video is for you, five fans. Maybe there's Mynah bird enthusiasts in there somewhere as well. But anyway, so I will begin by showing you. So this design, sorry, I haven't got my proper microphone today, so I have to be like super close to the camera. So it's a bit, up close, personal. But anyway, this is the design that I've stitched. Excuse the poor framing, I kind of just threw it together. So I'll just explain this. So this lion is, quite an ancient symbol from Zoroastrian times. So this is from ancient Persia. Zoroastrianism is the religion that was present before Islam in Iran. So it's quite an old religion where they worship the sun. I haven't looked too much into it, but it's quite interesting. But anyway, this lion dates from those times, this image. And it used to be on the Iranian flag before the regime took over in 79. So a lot of people use this lion as a symbol of resistance against the regime. So I've altered it, obviously, with the hair, which is sort of representing the defiance against the mandatory headscarf laws in Iran. So the writing here, it says Marg bar dictator, which means death to the dictator, which has been a common protest slogan. And what they're saying is death to Khomeini, the supreme leader of Iran. So this pattern is available for free. I've got the link below. If you do download it though, it comes with a guide on how you can help the revolution in Iran. There's some really kind of easy things you can do that don't involve money. So the internet is shut down in Iran. The government has literally shut down the internet because they don't want this to get, what they're doing, the atrocities, to get out to the public, and journalists aren't allowed into the country. So the only way people have been making the events known is through VPNs and ways of getting around the internet. So you can help them with this. I'm not like extremely tech savvy, but the instructions are in the document if you download this PDF. And if you do want to pay something for it, that money is all going to be donated to Amnesty for Iran. So yeah, I had a lot of fun designing this pattern. I hadn't designed a pattern before, but I use a software called MacStitch, and it was actually pretty user-friendly. Yeah, so if you're looking into designing patterns, I'd recommend that. What else can I say about this? There's got some other elements. So these are tulips, which is the national flower of Iran. The flag of Iran is red, white, green, so that kind of is why I've got those colors. All right, I'll put this aside for now. This is the other pattern I've made. Put it up close. So this is called Under the Spreading Pomegranate Tree. So pomegranates are a native fruit of Iran. The Iranian word for them is anar. They're they have a lot of symbolic importance in traditional Iranian culture. They represent fertility, new life. So I was inspired to make this based on like a few lines from a Orwell novel, 1984. So there's a part in there about the Chestnut Cafe. My memory is from year 12 English. And there's a poem about under the spreading chestnut tree. So this is the Iranian version of that. And again, if you like this pattern, it's not as obviously political as the other one. So I thought, you know, maybe if you just like the tree, you might want to download this. And again, it comes with instructions of how you can help the revolution. Yeah, so maybe I'll tell you a bit about Birdy now. So anyway, so my cat brought in Birdy 2 weeks ago. So he was still he was smaller then, looked like a baby bird. My cat didn't injure him, so she likes to just bring in animals like frogs, mice, and just leave them in the house. It's quite annoying. So she brought Birdy in, and since then I felt kind of responsible for his life. So in Australia, this species, the Indian Mynah, is a pest. It's an introduced species. Oh dear. And so no one, so that the local wildlife groups couldn't help me. They said it's not a native bird, so we can't look after it. And then the vet I called said, oh, we just put it down if you brought it in, because it is a pest. Again, with that whole pest thing, I don't think it's really fair, because it's not like the bird wanted to come here and displace native animals. It was brought here by people. And studies show that it's not this giant killer of native wildlife that people think it is. People are the killer of native wildlife. Land clearing is. And having vast swathes of concrete is what displaces native birds. So the people hate this bird, this type of bird in Australia, because they say it kicks native parrots out of their nests. And the truth is, you only really find them in cities or in urban developed areas, and you're not going to have many native bird species there anyway. And you don't find Indian mynahs in the bush. You know, they don't survive in the bush. They survive in urban places like pigeons. So I guess what I'm saying is maybe I'm just kind of intellectualizing why I have saved this pest species, but I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. The people in Australia, the government provides people with cages to trap this bird and drown it or kill it humanely, which is a bit over the top. Like, if you really are worried about native species, you plant some native trees in your garden. If you've got a big lawn, you are going to attract these birds. They like big open spaces. But if you plant your garden with native plants, they're not going to be interested. Anyway, so I've decided to keep the bird. It needs to be fed every 2 hours, which I thought would just be like for a few days, that would be the case. But no, this species is very dependent on its parents for quite a while, like months, I've heard. So luckily either me or my husband works from home, so we've been taking turns feeding it every 2 hours, and it now thinks it's a person. And I actually found a vet that offered to take him, but we've all become so attached to him that I still haven't decided what to do. For now, he's kind of happy free ranging in the house. I'm just looking at the floor because he's on the floor just picking up random objects. I'll see. Okay, he likes to sit in my pot plants. So from my other videos, I've got heaps of pot plants. And it works well with having a free range bird because he just sits in them most of the time. I don't really have to worry about cleaning his poo. He just kind of poos in the soil. Yeah, I'd recommend it if you've got this crazy pot plant lifestyle, to add a bird to the mix. All right, I've got some WIPS, things I've been working on that I'll also show you. This one is the Haunted Library Stitch Along. So I showed this last time, but I made a bit of progress since then. This is a really cute pattern. It's probably the one I've worked on the most. I've stuffed up the counting though, which is why I haven't been progressing that quickly on it. So I think one of these is sort of out of whack, and that always annoys me. Usually I just keep stitching, but yeah, I think for this one I would have to unpick something, so I've just kind of been delaying going back to it. That's that one. So this is one I'm almost done with that I really like. This is Kitty Kitty by the Primitive Hare, and it was one she released for her early Stitches Club. So it's a cheetah, obviously. My daughter's favorite animal is the cheetah, so I'm making this for her. Yeah, it doesn't have many colors, so it was pretty simple to stitch. You don't have to be constantly changing. There's a few half crosses in the face. Probably didn't need to be there. Like could have just done it with full crosses, so they're a bit annoying. But other than that, it's been fun to stitch. There's something else. So I downloaded a pattern from Owl Forest. This, like, I've already got like 4 Owl Forest kits that I haven't even started yet, but I just saw this chicken pattern and I had to have it. So yeah, I just love all these chickens, and I have chickens, so I needed this. So I made some progress. This is the rooster that's in the middle. I used this hand dyed yarn from what's it called? There's that company that does all the yarn. not yarn, linen. No, I can't remember. I just had COVID, so my brain is still foggy. But yes, it was from 123 Stitch. It'll come to me later. Yeah, so the difficulty with this was that you can't buy alpha threads because of the sanctions with Russia. So I had to substitute them with Cottage Garden threads, which is an Australian company that hand dyes threads. So I just tried to match these best as I could, and I think it turned out pretty well. So the Cottage Garden threads come really nicely packaged like this, and you pull one side down and then you can just pull out individual strands. So I've got a few different, they're all variegated. Yeah, he really likes sitting on heads. And oh, he's hungry. I'll have to feed him. So he also doesn't really distinguish between people. He'll just land on anyone's head and assume it's a mother bird, which is also why I'm a bit reluctant to release him. I mean, he's too young now to be released. But eventually, if I do release him, I'm worried he's going to fly in people's heads and freak them out. And I do take him outside, and he does fly around outside, but then always flies back onto my head when he's hungry. Okay, so I was showing you this. Yeah, I really like this one. It's called Bird Bath, coincidentally. So I've substituted all the threads with Cottage Garden threads, with a few exceptions. I find when I just use variegated threads in a design, it kind of washes the whole effect out. So I've put some solid colors in. The red, I'm going to just use a solid color. The darker yellow will be solid, so that the variegation stands out more. So what else? I've been working on Move Forward in Love. So I've got to be the slowest person working on this. I think everyone's finished this by now. This is a stitch along by Modern Folk Embroidery. Yeah, I really love the colours on this. They're just so vibrant. And I am in the process of replacing all this with that bronze, so you can't really see the silver. Yeah, so that pattern is, I probably won't finish it this year, but it's in the pipeline. God. So I'll just give you some Mynah bird care tips in between. So what this guy eats are these special soft bill bird pellets. Mynah birds are very prone to I shouldn't know how to say this word being a doctor, but hematochromoses. Oh, this is embarrassing. I'll put it down below. Hemochromoses. So I'm not a liver doctor. I know how to pronounce other medical words, psychiatry words, but so this disorder Mynah birds are prone to do with iron storage in the liver. They're very prone to building up iron to toxic levels. People can have this too from an inherited condition. So this guy has to have a very low iron diet. So these pellets are low iron pellets. And he also eats mashed up fruit and egg. He loves eggs. And my chickens lay way too many eggs, so I just cook them and feed them to him. So it's like some sort of weird bird ecosystem cycle I've got running here. Okay, I think he's full. And normally they get yellow coloration around their eyes, but they need to be exposed to a lot of light for that. And I think he's too young to have that anyway, the coloration. What else can I tell you about Mynah birds? They're very clever. They can learn how to speak. He hasn't said anything yet. And I haven't really been sitting down teaching him words, so let's see what happens. Hey. There were some other interesting Mynah bird facts I learned. I can't remember. They live for 5 years. It's not very long. Because you can have parrots that live for 100 years, can't you? Yeah. You can't tell if they're male or female without doing a DNA test. So I don't know if this is a male or female. Anyway. Yeah, I've got a few other pieces to show you. Oh, so I'm working on Shores of Hawk Run Hollow. This one I am almost done. I've just got to fill in the blue. But every time I start trying to fill it in, I get really bored and do like one line. The rest is done. I really like this and how it matched the linen too. Ah, okay. As long as he doesn't poop on my pieces, it's fine. Yeah, so you can see it's quite a big pattern that I showed you before. And I don't like all the squares. So what I was going to do was just pick a few squares that I liked. And you can see I've cut the fabric smaller and then make it into a book. Don't know how I will do that, but I'll figure it out. How cool is the sun? It's got a smile. What else have I got? Oh yeah, this is something new. So there's I've discovered By the Bay needle art, and they have these really tiny designs. I should take things out of the plastic so you can see. So it's called Stitch and Inch, and they have it based on seasons usually, or Christmas. They're really tiny, just an inch. And yeah, these are the 4 ones that I got. And they're really quick to stitch. So I'm almost finished this one. I put this one on 28 count, so it's bigger than 1 inch, but if you put it on 32 count, it'll be an inch. So I still have to fill in this area, but it's not really showing up well. But I was going to put it in a tiny frame and then put it on a tiny shelf. Okay. I'm just pulling out random bags that I haven't touched for months. Oh, yes. Yeah, so I showed you this one last time and told you about the rat fiasco. So this was meant to be a cat, but I've somehow made it look like a giant rat. But that's fine. I've made my peace with that. Yeah, I haven't made too much progress. I've done these 2 leaves. You can see the fabric. I some reason decided to do this on 40 count, which I will not do again. Usually I stitch at night time, and I just can't see this at night. And I've tried using lamps, but just I don't want to have a lamp in every room where I cross stitch. So yeah, I'll slowly get to that one. Oh, this is probably my favorite new pattern I've started. Yes, maybe Birdy likes it too. It's called In the Library by Mojo Stitches. Mojo Stitches is an Australian cross-stitch designer, and I really love her patterns. She's got a few that are related to native plants, native birds. So yeah, I wonder what she thinks about me keeping an Indian Mynah. I don't know if she'd be against that or for that, but I find most people who appreciate flora and fauna also are not into killing birds. It's more the psychopath people who want an excuse to kill birds that trap the miners and drown them. So hopefully Mojo Stitches is fine with that. Yeah, so this is In the Library, and I just love this pattern. I love all the like little knickknacks she's got here, and the border of ivy. Like, how pretty is that? Oh, I'll show you my actual pattern, not the picture. Okay, so I made a bit of progress. Oh, I should have ironed these. Who am I kidding? I never iron anything. Yeah, I turned up to a night shift once wearing scrubs. My scrubs are always like super wrinkled. And the nurse was like making fun of me for not ironing my clothes, but in a nice way. It was okay. Just don't see the point of ironing things. Anyway, so this is, I really like this border. It's got a moth in it. And I've done this one shelf. It's got a house plant. I think this is a tiny egg. I don't really know, but it's cute. Yeah. And I also got the thread pack from Mojo Stitch's Etsy shop. And yeah, I just love the way she's packaged it. So she uses cottage garden threads for her patterns, but you, instead of buying the full skeins, which would be quite expensive if you bought 12 full skeins, you can get this thread pack from her Etsy shop. And yeah, it's just really cute. Like, it's very peaceful using this and working on this pattern, I find. So for her pattern, she recommended using 1/2, but I've used 2/2 because I just wanted to get more saturation on the colors. I wonder if I have worked on anything else. Hold on. I feel like I have. Oh yeah, this autumn. Okay, yes I have. So this is Autumn Alphabet by Willow Hill Samplings. Oh gosh, looks like I've just left it in the middle of a stitch and ran away. I don't know why that occurred. Okay. Yeah, so made a bit of progress. Again, sorry for the wrinkles. Yeah, I really like how this blue turned out. I just need to do the border and the cat. There's meant to be a cat here. And I'm not going to put the alphabet in. I'm not a huge fan of alphabet samplers. So that's the finished thing. Yeah, I'm not going to do the alphabet. I'll just do the moon and the border. Okay. Oh, I haven't picked up these things in months. Like, it's just reminding me I've got to keep working on them. So this is a Barbara Anna that I'm almost finished with. It's a Dreaming Girl Floral Dreams. So I'm almost there with this one. I've used gold instead of silver thread, and that's just a Chronic gold. Yeah, I really like the colours in the wings, and I like the variegated blue. She doesn't normally work with variegated yarns, but she has this time. Oh, I love these scissors. The titanium. Yeah, and Barbara Anna's come out with a few new patterns that I really like. So there's like 3 or 4 since that one that she's released. So I need to finish that and do the others. Oh, this is another stitch along that I am super slow. This is the Modern Folk Embroidery 2020 stitch along. Oh gosh. So this is like the biggest piece I have that I'm working on. But done. It's all stuck together. Okay. Yeah, so I'm up to like March, May, April. Like, he releases one part every month, and it's meant to be this big. Yeah, what could I say? Slowly making progress. I've changed some of the motifs, so I've put cats here instead of angels. And I've changed the colors. It's meant to be like just black, but I've added pops of color here and there. No, it's Birdy. What other minor bird facts can I tell you? Oh, he's trying to eat my finger. I can't think of anything else. just feeding him. Yeah, so I think that's it for now. I've got a few more of the Iran related patterns in the pipeline. So I've made a hashtag stitch for Iran. So I'll be putting them under that hashtag if you want to follow the progress. And yeah, consider reading into it more, reading into what's happening there. Yeah, it's just been very tragic and very sad. But there are things, real material things we can do in other countries to help them. So one is helping them with VPNs so they can get the images, the news out there. The other is writing to your members of parliament, because countries around the world need to stop legitimizing the Islamic regime. They need to cut ties with them, sanctions similar to sanctions on Russia, so that the people can institute a new government rather than continuing to recognize this terrorist group as a government. Yeah, so I've got the link below for my Gumroad where I've got the free patterns you can look at. And I think I will leave it there. I'm trying to find Birdy. Oh, here it is. All right. He says bye. I say bye. See you next time.